Nut Nerd Podcast, Episode 343, Pet, Flop.
Welcome to the Nut Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Jose, can you see? I had to start out with that because it is the 4th of July. We're recording on America's, or I should say the United States Independence Day. One interesting thing about that, Nate, is that most countries celebrate their independence when they sign the documents and stuff. We celebrate ours when we declared it. There was still a whole war that needed to be fought. We just declared it. This is when
it happens.
That's when it happened. Anyway, how are you celebrating the nation's birth today?
Well, I just got done watching the annual Nathan's Hot Dog eating competition, and spoiler alert, Joey Jaws Chestnut took the title once again. I think it was his 14th or 15th win. He did have a broken foot, and his numbers were a little low, but he still won by like 20. And I also celebrated earlier by going to the nearby city of Lake Oswego for a parade, and then I participated in their pie eating competition.
Oh.
So
how did that fare? Did you win?
I did not win. I was next to the winner. She demolished her chocolate cream pie. I would probably say there was me and the guy at the other end of the table. We're probably could about tied for second place. But she had an impressive performance. And for winning, what did she get? A pie.
Wow,
yes.
You'd think that she'd be sick of pies by then.
Yeah, no, but so that was a lot of fun. Friend of the show, Wes, had won it back in 2019. He was there, so he shared some tips with me, which were very helpful, but man, was that a lot of pie. So if I'm acting a little weird on the show today, it's because I ate more sugar than I probably have in the last year.
Yeah.
All in the span of 5 minutes.
Now, not to keep going on about things that people don't, in our segment of things that other people do not care about.
Yes.
Was that a local hot dog eating contest, or is this a televised event?
That's the national.
Okay.
At Coney Island's famous Nathan's Hot Dogs in New York. That they do the big ESPN coverage.
Wow.
The top eaters of the world come together for the Nathan's eating. And I think he did 63 hot dogs to win this year, but his record, I think, might be 78 and a half in previous years. But it is always impressive to watch those guys eat their hot dogs.
Is it the little skinny guy that keeps winning, or is it a different person this time?
He is not large. Most of them are not large. There was one guy that was like almost 7 foot, a former basketball player, but they have national qualifiers all over the place. And then they come together for the big thing. And he's solid. He's not skinny, but there was the guy from Japan that there was some questionable practices, and he kind of got kicked out of Kobayashi, got kicked out of Major League Eating. But Joey Chestnut has been dominating for quite a while now.
Wow.
Impressive. Yes, well, before
There's no
we lose
technology
all,
angle.
Yes, it is a slower news time, but I did find some stories that I wanted to talk about. First up in Followup, an FCC Commissioner calls on Apple and Google to remove TikTok from their app stores, saying it's a national security risk. Now, we've talked about this before, and it kind of bubbles up a little bit, and everybody's like, ooh, China's scary, and then it goes away, and then they were going to make TikTok do all the U.S. stuff on U.S. servers, and somebody was going to buy it, and all these different things. But with the story we talked about recently, where China was looking at account stuff that they shouldn't have been looking at, there's a revitalized push to remove TikTok, which would be pretty crazy. It's very popular. A lot of people use it, but when there's national security at risk, maybe we should think about just turning it off for a while.
Well, I can tell you that anyone who uses TikTok would probably be against the government turning it off.
Yes.
And so it'll be interesting to see if the government falls to peer pressure to not do anything about it, or if the government does what they should do and tick off millions of users. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting thing. If I had to guess, this is just between you and me and nobody else listening, I bet the government doesn't do anything about it. That's going to be my guess.
Yes. Well, and I think it was a tweet from somebody in the tech space or something saying that, because we talk about lobbying a lot, and they were saying, TikTok lobbyers in the U.S. should probably be like registered as foreign agents since they're really working for a Chinese company. Mm-hmm. So again, lobbying always factors in, and money is a factor in life is what I'm going to go out on a wing and say.
Wow.
Might be controversial, but yeah.
If only I had known this sooner, I would have gotten into a career where I could make lots of money.
Yes, that would have been a good idea. We've got our new segment of services that are adding a plus to their name. Snapchat Plus, paid subscription adds features, but keeps ads. So I still don't really know who's using Snapchat. I've got a couple family members that'll get like a little notification every once in a while. They'll post something. It just doesn't, in my world, have the draw that it used to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so $3.99 a month,
and you still get ads.
You still get ads, but it adds some other features and exclusive and early access features.
It's interesting that social media, traditional media, nobody can figure out a business model that does not include advertising.
Yes.
Are we not smart enough to figure out a way to have a business model? I mean, subscription is a great way to do it, but they still serve you ads.
Yeah.
We're just addicted to ads in this country. I'm not sure what the deal is.
Yeah, it is. There's obviously money there and people need to advertise, so people don't want to turn that off. But if you are a Snapchat user and decide to use Snapchat Plus, listeners, please let us know how that works out for you. And one more new Plus service, everybody's
same segment here.
Yes, everybody's favorite political pundit, Mr. Ben Shapiro, and the service that he's part of, DailyWire, which is I believe they label themselves as a conservative service. They had a little 7th anniversary party last week and announced they're moving to DailyWire Plus as they continue to add more content. But they did also announce they've got 890,000 subscribers to their current service, and they've added some new people. Another person, I will quickly remind people, we are the most nonpartisan tech podcast on the internet, even on Independence Day. But they added, loved by everyone, non-controversial Dr. Jordan B. Peterson to their list.
What's funny about that is I have no idea who this person is. So give me a little, if I don't know, then most people who listen.
Wow, Jordan. Okay, yes, Jordan Peterson. So he was and he recently stepped down, a professor, I believe, of psychology in Canada.
Is this Mike's brother?
Yes, Mike Peterson's brother, Dr. Jordan Peterson. But he is intellectual. He wrote a book called 12 Rules of Life, and he's written several books. But he's made some very controversial statements on stuff. But he... very interesting guy. I've listened to some of his stuff. But another thing, DailyWire is investing $100 million into his kids' content, cartoons and that kind of stuff. So they're, for something that, a service that a lot of people probably haven't heard of, they are doing a lot of stuff, have a lot of subscribers, and going with the plus in their name. Yeah,
the kids' content, I couldn't help but notice, says no divisive narratives, no insidious ideologies, just safe, fun programming for the whole family.
Hop on in.
What could they be talking about, I wonder?
Yes. Who knows?
We wouldn't know.
We would know.
We would know.
But speaking of divisive and controversial. I noticed this on Twitter the other week. We talked, I think maybe it was a year or so ago, that RadioShack was back, and I bought one of their trucker hats with the old RadioShack logo on it. But I noticed on Twitter that there was like just this completely rude, off-the-wall tweet from RadioShack. And I was like, what the heck is going on with this? And then I saw this story where the title is, What's Going On with RadioShack's Twitter account? So they are back. They have a limited amount of products, but they also have this crypto thing, and they have really gone with the marketing strategy on Twitter of being as rude and offensive and just swearing and all this stuff to promote their RadioShack crypto.
Yeah, that doesn't really work with a 100-year-old branded company, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of definitely caught me off guard. I was like, oh, what's this, Photoshop, or have they been hacked? And nope, they got somebody new running their social media, and it does even mention in the article, to back up your claim, RadioShack's cool pivot was met with both celebration and cynicism. What? Nothing's ever met with celebration and cynicism. The company's tweets were widely compared to a popular meme from 30 Rock featuring older actor Steve Buscemi dressed like a teen and asking, "How do you do, fellow kids?"
So that was from 30 Rock. I wondered where that was from. I didn't know.
Yes, I do.
I love that meme, though.
Yes, it is. Trying to relate. But so if you follow RadioShack on Twitter and have been a little confused, it's on purpose. Yes.
So good luck with that.
Good luck with that. And we've got to get back to the U.S. government, because that's our favorite topic. But so the headline from Bloomberg, crypto tax cheats likely to get relief as U.S. crackdown hits snag. So
you're going to have to translate that headline. What is that? What does it even mean?
Yes. So the U.S. government's bid to collect billions of dollars in taxes is hitting a snag, with the Biden administration poised to delay when crypto brokers and exchanges must start gathering detailed information on their clients' trading. So basically, at the beginning of 2023, they were going to have to report all transactions for capital gains and losses. Now, my brain thinks, why would they possibly delay this when they could bring in billions of tax dollars this year? Maybe because crypto went down a ton and it would actually hurt them because there would be all these capital losses that people took, so they wouldn't get as much taxes.
They're going to wait till crypto's back up, then they're going to implement it, then they're going to get all these gains is what's going to happen. Yes.
So, read it as you may. So it looks like there's a delay before they'll start taxing all those crypto transactions.
Interesting.
But there will not be a delay in Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
That's right. And this is a tip. It's going to be short and sweet.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. But as we're out and about this summer, and especially on holidays like today, you're taking photos. And I've known some people who have live photos enabled on their iPhones. And they're like, I didn't even know you could turn these things off. Well, we're going to talk about live photos today. And in your camera app, there's generally it looks kind of like a bullseye or a target type icon. Mm-hmm. Why that's a live photos icon, I don't know. I believe it's set on by default, and you can turn it off in the settings. But a lot of people, every photo they take is a live photo. And this is where you swipe over to the photo or you tap on it, and it'll play a short animation or a video surrounding the photo. Well, Nate, did you know? And I mean, you probably didn't, because this is pretty hardcore. Did you know that you could change the keyframe of that photo? Let's say there's a better shot to the left or to the right of the photo that is always displayed. You can go in and adjust the frame. I bet you didn't know that, did you?
I actually did know that, but I know that a lot of people don't.
Yes,
so.
I knew that you did know that. Well, what you need to do is go into your camera roll and find a live photo. If you don't have one, then take a live photo. Make sure that little bullseye target is not crossed out. Just take a photo. It'll take a live photo for you. Then you want to go into the edit feature of the photo. And down near the bottom, there's that target icon again. And you simply tap that target icon and you're presented with an array of images. and one of them is highlighted with a little white box. And you can slide that white box to the left or to the right, in effect choosing a new keyframe within that live photo. So let's say it's a picture of your child jumping over a dog, and you want the child to be at the most pinnacle part of the jump, but the computer has decided that's right before she leaves the ground or something like that. So you can go in there and swipe over and adjust the live photo keyframe. This is also helpful if you share or export that photo somewhere. That's the one that's going to be shared, whatever the keyframe photo is. Yes. Now, as a bonus pro tip, you can also convert live photos into animated GIFs or little loops or that type of stuff. And I'm trying for the life of me to remember how to do that. Nate, are you aware of how to do that with a live photo?
So on my computer, and I just did one as a long exposure from the pie eating contest, which looks horrible. But in the upper left of the picture area, there's a little live area. And if you type on that, I believe if you also used to be that if you swept up from the picture.
That's how you do it.
You can do it within there. This might be one because it was shared from Wes. But if you swipe up on the photo or in the upper left corner, you can do live, loop, bounce, or long exposure.
Yeah, thus inviting more and more fun to your live photos.
Yes.
Now, I don't have a lot of live photos because I typically turn it off. But it can be fun because when you're sliding through your photos, it adds a little bit of animation to each photo. So I would say use it sparingly. But if you do use it, now at least you know that you can reset the thumbnail or the keyframe of that live photo. And as a bonus, you can convert it to a loop or a bounce or what was the one? The long exposure?
Long exposure for like a waterfall. So it'll give it that fairy tale look.
Yeah, so play around with that. It's built into your iOS for free, so you might as well take advantage of it. And get some extra
life out of your photos.
Get extra life out of your live photos. That should have been the title of this pro tip.
Yes, indeed. And I will give a bonus pro tip.
What?
That if, like you don't know which photos are live on there, you don't take them by habit. If you're on your albums page, you can just scroll down to the media types, and then you can select all your live photos, and then you can find one that you would like to play with. Now, Dave, I want to go off of the pro tip and just into a personal preference. Now, my wife takes a lot of live photos. She really likes taking them. I do not. I feel like non-live photos, I get a better picture. Even though I can adjust it, I can pick out part, but just the overall quality of the picture seems better on just a regular photo. So that's why I leave it off often.
Yeah. I haven't noticed that, but I am trying to take more and more photos that are portrait photos so that I get the nice bokeh, which you can adjust the focus depth after the fact with a portrait photo. And so sometimes I like to use those, and I'm not sure that a live photo is compatible with that mode. So to each their own. There's even those new cinematic styles that people can use, which I do not use. It bakes in kind of a look into your photos. I prefer to do that after the fact, but the Photos app year after year keeps getting better and better and more useful. So if you haven't visited it in a while, go into the settings, go into all the little icons, see what they do, and just experiment and see if you can add more fun to your photo workflow.
Very nice. Well, on to our takes, and something that doesn't seem to be getting better year after year is Amazon Prime Day. We usually put this in Followup, but I threw it into our takes. So it is coming up July 12th and 13th. Now, they do have some pre-Prime deals, but I figured I would let people know. So it looks like it's really going to be focused this year on specifically Amazon devices or products. So they've got the Blink cameras, the Era Wi-Fi, the Ring, all the Ring products that they've purchased. Obviously, their tablets, their brands of like clothes and home stuff.
Right.
And then there will be some other deals, but again, it seems law of diminishing returns. Now, part of it is I just don't need anything. So I'll often look through the Amazon deals and I'm like, there's nothing that I need. But if there is something you need, it might be a good time to keep an eye on it on Amazon over the next week or so.
Well, and they keep expanding their deal times, and they have all these extra deals, and they have daily deals. And so it kind of feels like at any time of the week or the year, you can get a deal on something. So
yes,
it makes Amazon Prime Day less special. To quote the noted philosopher and scholar Dash Parr, when everybody is super, nobody is. So when there's deals all the time, there's no deals ever. Or there's always deals, however you spin it.
However you spend it. I did see they've got a little thing they're trying to encourage people to, use Amazon more because they like that. But if you go to the Prime Day page, they have a stamp card where if you get 4 stamps, you earn a $10 Amazon credit. So there's 4 different things you have to do. Make a Prime eligible purchase, stream a show on Prime Video, listen to a song with Amazon Music Prime, and borrow an ebook on Prime Reading. So if you do that, you will get a $10 credit from Amazon.
That sounds like a lot of work, but maybe worth it for $10, I guess.
Yeah. So, and they've got some other featured offers and everything. So again, if you need something, check it out. You might be able to get a good deal. For those who aren't keeping up on their National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration news, they had an announcement this week that it's tripling its supercomputing capacity for improved storm modeling.
Wow.
Yeah, so they've got a pair of 12 petaflop General Dynamics systems that cost a cool $500 million with a B dollars.
You know what I just thought of? If I have a new pet, I'm going to name it Flop, because then I'm going to pet a flop. That's kind of the humor you get from me here at my house.
Yes. But when I was first looking at this article, I didn't really, wasn't thinking specifically of storm tracking, but I'm like, we're spending this much money to try to make weathermen do better. I mean, they don't do very good already with their forecasting, but specifically with storms, I guess it makes sense to spend $500 million on.
Well, that's the problem. These storms are
supercomputers.
causing billions of dollars in damage. If you can spend $500 million to prevent some of that, it's a win-win.
Yes, indeed. So, we'll see what these. Each computer can do a quadrillion calculations per second with 26 petabytes of storage. So,
but can it run Doom?
Yes, exactly. So that was pretty interesting. So we'll see if that makes hopefully a drastic improvement in storm modeling.
I hope so.
And another kind of similar story, and I had seen this one a while ago and finally got it into our show notes. Seed-firing drones are planting 40,000 with a T trees every day to fight deforestation. So you love the drones, and
I
these
do.
ones are seed-firing drones.
Well, I sure like
trees.
seed-firing drones much better than bullet-firing drones. I think
that
this is a
true.
great use. If there's areas of deforestation due to climate or due to mankind's insistence,
or due to deforestation.
well, yeah, I'm just saying whatever the cause is. Flying one of these dudes over there and shooting seeds in the ground is amazing. There was this one couple, I can't remember the exact details, but I think it was somewhere in India. There's a couple different stories. There was a couple who reforested an area. There was a guy in India that planted like 1 million trees and completely transformed this area. And so something like this, instead of taking people half their lifetime to do this, 40,000 seeds every day, that's quite something. We're talking just a couple years to really make a big impact.
Yes, indeed. It says, in comparison to traditional methodologies, that's 25 times faster, but also 80% cheaper. So that is pretty cool. So they're planting 100 million trees by 2024.
Is there anything a drone cannot do?
I don't think. There is.
Lasers and drones can pretty much do anything. And heaven forbid anyone figures out how to combine those things.
Yes.
They'll take over the world.
Yeah, but really cool story. And I mean, yeah, what a great application of getting into places that are just hard for people to get into and making it much more efficient. I love efficiency.
Yes, and it's funny, the picture in the article is a wide open field
Yes.
with a drone over it. I'm pretty sure it's probably not difficult to plant trees there, but
Yes.
we get the idea.
Yes, exactly. And of course, they are using artificial intelligence.
Oh, of course.
Yes, to fight the deforestation and figure out where to plant the seeds.
So put
That's what
lasers
we
on
do.
the drone and match it with artificial intelligence, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, perfect. No problems at all.
None.
Well, and we've got a security and privacy story this week, and there has been a lot of discussion on menstrual trackers and the security of them. So this one is called Stardust, and the use has surged after recent events, but its privacy claims aren't airtight, TechCrunch says. The app was found sharing users' phone numbers with an analytics firm. Shame on you.
App developers can't help it. It's this whole advertising thing. They just cannot help it. It's like, I've got all this free money just sitting here. Even though it's wrong, I want free money.
Yeah.
You can't, unless there are laws or something, people are going to continue to do this.
Yes, indeed. I did hear a discussion, not specifically on this story, but just these apps in general and health stuff is people have concerns on various topics, but they were talking about, the iOS health app. It has some of this built in as well, and that is very secure. Apple does take security seriously, but there's a lot of these cross-platform apps or other ones that, man, you really got to look into it when you're sharing health data.
Yeah, anybody can make one. There's no restrictions on who can make one.
Yeah, especially one like this, which just has to track the phases of the moon and the tides. That's how it works, right? And pelican migration. I think
there's some pixie dust in there somewhere.
Yes. Well, speaking of pixie dust, our bonus odd take of the week is a website called Craiyon Crayon.com with an AI in the middle. But what you do, you go to crayon.com and it says, what do you want to see? So I typed in the other day, pickle, and it says, this should not take long, up to 3 minutes. But what it presents you is a bunch of AI drawings. It basically looks like when you do a photo search on Google and it just gives you a whole list of photos, it will give you a whole bunch of pictures of pickles. Now, I saw somebody else do it with dogs, and one of the AI generated pets was two-headed, which I guess is possible. But it's very interesting to see. I don't know if you started one yourself, Dave, but hopefully it wasn't pickle, so we could get some variation.
No, pickles is one of my favorite words and one of my favorite things, but I think the power is when you match different things together. And so mine is still generating, but I typed pigs in a blanket.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. To my surprise, it did not show me pigs that are wrapped in a blanket, but instead the culinary dish of hot dogs wrapped in pastry dough.
Oh, yes.
And it doesn't look like any of them are AI generated to me. What did I do wrong?
No, they are, though. They are very realistic. I'm sure they're using images they find on the web. But and I realized that Crayon, their new name, which is much better than their former one, Doll-E Mini, but I have seen people posting online Doll-E creations where it was just like people try to make really random things. But I'm going to try another one here and we'll see if it gets done in time. And it is trained using Google's TRC. You can find more details in the W&B project report and the DALL-E Mini model card. You can also watch the story behind DALL-E Mini on Gradient Descent with Boris Dema. Sounds riveting.
Yeah, everybody knows that guy. So I typed in airplane and it's still generating images. It just came up with some. Interesting. So what it looks like it's doing is taking parts of aircraft and merging them together.
Oh.
Which is very strange. There's a couple that look like normal, but one where it's like a tail of an airplane going one direction and another tail of another airplane going the other direction, and makes this kind of noseless airplane, an airplane with two tails.
Yes.
Like that's not an airplane. That's a meteorite. That's what that is.
Exactly. And you can screenshot them and share your results. So maybe you should save that one, Dave, and we can share it out with our social media that we are so consistent with.
I just saved it. And I want to correct real-time correction. A meteor is when it's flying through the sky, and a meteorite is the mineral that you find on the ground.
So, wow.
So since it's in the sky, it would be a meteor.
I didn't know I was listening to the Mark and Toddcast here with the science lesson.
I think maybe in space it's a meteoroid. I think there's actually another one, but I'm not going to be 100% on that one.
The English language, you got to love it.
Yes.
But you know what else you got to love? Our picks of the week.
I was watching a YouTube channel. Cannot remember the name of it, but the guy was going through a list of things that was on his phone, different apps. And they were cool. Some were cross-platform, some were iOS only, et cetera, et cetera. This one I think is iOS only. I'm not exactly sure, but it's called Speechify. Have you ever heard of Speechify?
I've heard of it, but I'm forgetting what it does.
Well, there are a couple apps like this, and I reviewed a few of them, and there are some bad ones out there. But what this is a text-to-speech engine for your iPhone.
Gotcha.
And you can point an article at it, you can copy and paste text, you can point it to a PDF or a text document, and it'll read it in very human-sounding voice back to you at various speeds, etc., etc. And you could do this on your computer. There's all kinds of websites. There's lots of ways to do this, but this application works rather well. It's simple to use. Here's the gotcha. The gotcha is if you want high quality, very lifelike voices, you have to pay a monthly subscription, and it's like $12 a month or like $140 a year. I'm like, no, thank you. They give you an example to try out, of course, and it sounds wonderful. And then it switches back to the normal kind of robotic first generation Siri type sound. And it's okay. To listen to an article, to read, let's say you have a PDF document, it works just fine. Like I said, it's simple to use. It's got speed. Actually, I think you have to pay the service to change the speed after the trial is over. But it does the job, and it does it for free. If you want all the extra features, you can pay for them. But I think if you just want to do a text-to-speech quick and easy, this app is good enough.
Very nice.
That's a
great pick of the week. Good enough.
That's a wonderful review of just good enough.
Yes. Well, my pick of the week this week, as I bend over to pick it up off the ground, is something I got off of Woot a while ago. Wow. Now, you might have heard before of like the Theragun. It's like looks kind of like a gun, but it's this massaging thing with this. You'll see like professional sports players will use them. I actually tried one out. A friend that's a massage therapist, she had one, and we were passing it around. And I was thinking after I used hers, I was like, man, I need to get one of these. But the Theragun is like $200 for theirs. So on Woot, I happened to find, and there's a million brands of these around.
Isn't this what a spouse is for? What do you need a massage thing?
Well, no offense to my wife or my daughter, but neither of them are the strongest people, and I am larger, so even when they walk on my back, it doesn't do it. So here it is. It's got a little handle, and then I've got the ball attachment on there, so you hold it down, turn it on, and let's see how it looks on Zoom for you.
Wow. I got to be honest, this doesn't seem... Physical therapy is not the first thing I think of when I see a device like this. Yes. But it is... I've been using this thing. I mean, my neck and my shoulders get really tight, and using this thing, and it's got a couple different attachments and tells you how to use it and everything. But
This one was very cheap, and I'm giving away the farm on the you guessing. Dave, knowing that the Theragun ones are like $200, what do you think I ended up paying up for this gem?
Well, I'm glad that you gave me kind of an idea, because I have no point of reference at all. So it's got to be under $200. So $190. No, I'm thinking this is probably in the $50 range.
The reason why I purchased this one, it was on Woot for $36.99, but I had a $10 credit that Woot sent me for some reason, so $26.99. And this definitely falls under my thing of, I could see how this expensive thing could be useful, but there's a cheaper option. I wonder if that one will be useful enough that I don't have to spend $200. So if you've been in the market, I did look around Amazon some, and in the $40 to $50 range, you can find some different options in there.
So the price to usefulness ratio is pretty good on this model, huh?
Yes,
especially
so far.
At your exorbitant discounts.
Yes, indeed. But it really helps me out and loosens up my muscles. Very nice little piece of tech to have around the house after a long day of pie eating.
Yes.
I need to massage my stomach to loosen up all the chocolate cream pie that is living in there at the moment. Well, with that, I think it is time to wrap up this episode. Happy Independence Day to everyone. Hope you had a good Independence Day, since it's past that now. And are enjoying your time. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Share it with a friend. Leave us a review. Do whatever those things are that you do. And get out there and tech better.
I'm going to bet the farm, and I typed in woman in the Craiyon.
Oh,
let's see what happens.
Nice.
This is going to be crazy. Two-headed women. Man, I wish it didn't take 3 minutes.
I know, that is pretty crazy.
I mean, is it though? We're so spoiled.
Yes, well, that's
it's like,
3 minutes to create AI images.
We're so entitled.
We are.